23. So back to the NFL, there are already 3 head coaching vacancies in the league right now. We got Jeff Fisher, right? He was fired back on December 13th. The Rams are 4-11 this season. Gus Bradley, he was fired on December 18th. The Jags, they're 3-12. And today we saw Rex Ryan was let go, with the Bills being 7-8. And I'm really interested to see the process of how coaches are hired. So I requested Joe Banner, a former front office executive, right? You've been with the Eagles, the Browns, you spent a little time with the Falcons. So, Joe, you've done this before. You've hired, you've fired. Can you give me 3 traits that you'd be looking for in a head coach if you were in Buffalo?
You know, first of all, this is a great question. I saw Louis Riddick the other day talking about how teams don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
So they stop before they answer this question. So for me, this is very clear cut. The number one thing you have to have is a great leader. You got 53 active players, all different backgrounds, geography, races, different agendas, different agents influencing them. So if you don't have a really strong leader with a really clear plan, you're going to be in trouble. Look what we see right now. Adam Gase comes into Miami. He throws a couple of guys off the team when they're 1-3 and everything looks lost. The team wakes up and goes, whoa, wait a second, this guy means business, and now they're in the playoffs. We see of Mike Zimmer, which is surprising because Mike's one of the best leaders in the NFL, but the team seems to be, kind of going a little crosshair here right at the moment. So if you are not a strong leader, you're in trouble. The second thing for me is about hiring coaches. The biggest surprise to me when I got into the NFL was how crucial the coordinators are. You see a Hugh Jackson leave Cincinnati and go to Cleveland. He doesn't have the talent yet to win in Cleveland. But you see what a huge impact it had on Cincinnati's offense when he left. Now, those coaches will get it right. I know some of the guys that came in, they'll do fine. But when you see a coordinator leave or move, you see units change quite a bit, even when the talent doesn't. So that'd be number 2. Number 3 for me is humanity. Because players will do anything if they know the coach is looking out for their best interest as well as the team's. So if you have those 3 traits, you're going to have the ears of the team. You're going to be able to lead them. They're going to follow you, and you'll be able to move things forward in a very strong way. You'll change culture very quick. All the things that eventually lead to winning, I think you'll have covered.
Those are 3 things, but those aren't easy to find,
especially
especially as a package.
This is why, we have the conversation, is Mike Tomlin a great coach? And those are really hard to find. By the way, he has all 3 of those. And the conversation is crazy. Very, very few coaches, which is why we see a Belichick who can win so consistently. We see some of the coaches all the way back to the Bill Washington, Joe Gibbs, that can win so consistently. That's who they are. It's very, very hard to find.
Joe, I've had GMs say to me that they look for the steak. They try to ignore the sizzle being those hot coaches, those names that the media push out there. But how did you get past the momentum of the name to get to the substance of the person?
Well, first you have to have a tremendous amount of self-confidence. We hired Andy Reid in Philadelphia when he'd never even been a coordinator. And believe me, we took a lot of criticism for doing that because, how do you know? It's a projection. But if you have the list like we talked about of what you're looking for and you find the guy that has it, then you have to have the faith. Listen, it's very difficult. You have to have the owner believing in you so you get some time to prove that you're right. You got to have an ability to not listen to what the fans are saying and trust that if you get it right and you win, they'll love you. And if you get it wrong and you don't, they're going to not like you anyway, and you're going to be looking for work. So you have to start with, what am I looking for? And then you just have to have a lot of self-confidence, tune everything out, and just stay focused on what you think leads to a winning coach.
You talk about taking that chance on Andy Reid. We saw the Patriots make that gutsy move, hiring Bill Belichick. It was a bit of a disaster in Cleveland for him and in New York. But take a look since 2000, what Bill Belichick has been able to do. And that's just keep it steady there. There have been 23 AFC East head coaches, including interims, since 2000 when Bill took over. So they took that gamble. We saw in Baltimore, they took a gamble with John Harbaugh. So my question for you is there someone out there that you think should be getting more attention as a head coach that maybe no one's really looking at?
Well, it's not really a sleeper because he's been a head coach, but the guy that I bring up when you ask a question like that is Doug Marrone.
Why Doug Marrone?
Well, let's go back to the list I created. That's my list. Everybody may have a different opinion, but Doug is an incredibly strong leader. He went up to Buffalo. They were really struggling. He had a tough first season, but he really established himself as a leader. Frankly, stepped on some toes and irritated some people, some players and some people in the front office. Comes back the second year with Kyle Orton and goes 9-7. Hires Jim Schwartz, who was similar to talent to what the Ryans just had the top-rated defense in the league. So he helped hire good assistants and make them even better than they are. And I just think that as you talk about the qualities that I think make the really difference-making head coaches, any coach can come in and win the number of games that matches the talent level. So a really good head coach is coming out there and taking talent level, whatever it is, C, B, A, and winning even more games at that talent level indicates he should. So I think Doug already demonstrated he could do that. For me, he has the key qualities I'm looking for in a head coach. I'm hoping he gets a second chance and proves whether that's right or wrong.
All right, we'll see if any NFL GMs and owners are watching you, Joe Banner. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good insight.